One. Hello, hello.
Oh, hello. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
I'm
I
here.
must point out that I'm wearing my New Kids on the Block. Oh, it's blurring
Yeah.
sweatshirt. For folks who are maybe listening, but if you're watching NKOTB all day, ooh, I just dropped something. Um, in the background. Um, in one of my little group chats, someone was like, New Kids on the Block, isn't that like the same thing as Matchbox 20? And I really felt like they called me an old hag when they said that. Um, so I'm just repping. Jordan Knight, what's up, everybody? Um,
Do you remember as a kid? So, youngins, when we were in school, we didn't text each other.
oh yeah,
Wrote notes on paper,
we
pieces of
did.
and we passed them around to our friends.
Hmm.
And I used to hashtag NKOTB for life and also New Edition.
I mean, first of all, don't get me on my soapbox about how New Edition is the best boy band that ever existed. Because let me tell you about New Edition. New
Right.
Edition has given you hit after hit, decade after decade. Can You Stand the Rain is one of the greatest songs ever written and performed.
Mm-hmm.
They also give you hits in different iterations.
Mm-hmm.
They give you solo hits. They give you BBD hits. Hit after hit after hit. Um,
They give
let's
you
talk
dance
about
routines to memorize.
give you dance routine. If this isn't love, why does it hurt
Right.
so much? Like if it wasn't for NKOT, if it wasn't for New Kids, or I'm sorry, if it wasn't for New Edition, there'd be no New Kids. Legitimately, the guy who created them was like, I need a white version of this, and
Right.
went and created New Kids on the Block. One of the members of New Edition founded Boys to Men. They are the multiverse of madness of boy bands.
Did you see, I think it was either the Grammys or American Music Awards when they did a duet. It was Battle of Boston Bands.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Of course I saw that. Of course I saw that.
Amazing.
Also, their miniseries, amazing.
Oh
All
yeah.
of the young, I loved when it first came out, and then like the young men who were in the miniseries, like would perform with New Edition. Mm,
That was amazing. Yes.
mm, love it. If you're not a New Edition fan, go become a New Edition fan. Go find them, listen to everything. Um,
Bobby
but
Brown.
also I rep for NKOTB.
Yeah.
George, my first two crushes, one Bud from the Cosby Show, and two Jordan Knight from NKOTB.
My first crush was Bobby Brown. I had my first romantic slow dance to Tenderoni.
Okay.
I thought Bobby Brown and I would get married because we were born on the same day. And once he found out that he would marry me, um,
I love everything about that.
I had his poster on the wall. Anytime anything Bobby Brown came on, my mom and my brother got excited for me. When Ghostbusters 3 came out, they're like, Tanya, you gotta go see Ghostbusters 3 because guess who's in it? And I was like, yes. So,
Talking about New Edition, multiverse, like, come on, Bobby Brown, King of R&B.
hey, we totally got sidetracked, but
You did, but that's okay. It was a good side crack.
okay, it was a good sidetrack.
How
Yeah.
was your week?
My week was okay. It's hot in California. And
Okay.
yeah, a lot of, well, to me, this is the upper echelon of what I would like to experience
Truth.
as
Truth.
as far as heat goes.
Mhm.
Bay Area is sunny. It's temperate. Well, Oakland is sunny. Y'all don't get it twisted. San Francisco be foggy as all get out. But Oakland tends to be on an even keel, and that's what I appreciate. Now it's like kind of upper, and ironically, I'm going to DC in 2 days, and it's gonna be hot as hell.
Ooh,
I
you
don't
about to
know
be
how.
in the swamp.
I don't know how I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna cry every day. But
Your hair is really cute, but you're gonna have to put that up because them edges gonna throw out.
my hair, I don't tend to sweat in my hair.
Okay,
But
lucky.
yeah, I don't tend to sweat in my head. And that's why I did it, is because I knew I wouldn't feel like doing anything natural at all. Because my hair naturally, I have to actually do stuff to it.
Yeah,
This, I don't have to do anything. I'll put it in a bun at night and be fine. But
lucky.
no, because it lasted really well when I was in London. And that's
Mhm.
like, wind, fog, rain, all that. Uh,
Truth.
yeah, so the weather's been okay. I have all the fans on in my house. Sorry, spare the air, whatever electricity PG&E with their shenanigans is not happening today. So, but the week has been great. Um, yeah, it's been great.
Well, I mean, my week was my week. It was whatever. But I did post an article. So we've talked for the past couple of weeks about like the way Black folks are treated at General Hospital. We talked about Trina specifically. We talked about Sprina. And then an article from a friend of the show, Dylan St. James, dropped in TV Source. I don't know if it's a magazine, but it's an online publication. And beautifully written about misogyny in daytime. I also appreciated the "might I suggest you not fuck with my sis" line. Shout out to Beyonce. Um, but yeah, I thought it was so well written. Um, I loved that she talked about this. Is actually last week I talked about this because I said, I'm not gonna talk about what individuals are doing. I think that what matters is like how soap publications are picking it up and how I've seen it be picked up or talked about in a way that I have felt was really irresponsible. And this is what I felt very responsible way to talk about it. That gives full context, that gives voice to people who are talking about it. She got quotes from folks that allowed people to like have their feelings. People are allowed to have their feelings. People are allowed to say they're not going to watch anymore. People are allowed to say all of the things that they're saying. And the like responsibility of a publication is to also frame it and give it context. And I just thought she did that beautifully. What about you? What did you think?
Oh my God, I think it just really clarified, solidified all the feelings I've had. And I really appreciate it, how she talked about across all of the soaps currently.
Mm,
Because being a Young and a Restless watcher, I felt some kind of way specifically about how two of the women characters were treated on the show. They played Elena, specifically Elena, and oh God, what's that other girl? But anyway, black women on the show were just basically this summer kind of thrown under the bus. They had really strong black relationships. Both of them got dumped and cheated on with white women. And then Elena in particular, she was framed as being like the whiny complainer in favor of trying to promote the new relationship that Nate has with Victoria. And which I felt was really unnecessary and just wrong. And then also they talked about the Bold and the Beautiful, a character by the name of Paris.
mm-hmm.
Oh my God, she's been like, her relationships are never realized, and she's kind of framed as the kind of the gold digging slut, and she's not. And it's what's really disrespectful to me is because this actress currently plays the lead role in a strong black girl cartoon, and she is everything. She sings, she's a great actress, she's beautiful, and yet she's treated like redhead stepchild on that show. And it's like, it's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
No, it's so interesting that you brought her up specifically because I don't watch the soaps, but like I do, follow the Black women.
right.
Like when Michelle from Young and the Restless won her Emmy, I was like, yes, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
whatever. I'm rooting for everybody Black, whatever. Um,
yeah.
but I specifically remember this actress from Bold because, and I think that one of the things that has to be said is that misogyny and like all of that is not just spread, like it's an ideology. It is like the way black women are treated. And it
Right.
doesn't have to just come from like white people.
Right.
Like it is actually like it's, like it festers. And so I've seen black women like talk about this woman's hair and put her down.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like really upset about it. I was like, damn, I wish that people, because I don't watch this show, so I can have her back as much as I can, like from my little corner of the internet, but like people really mistreat her. Not saying it's just black women, not at all. I'm not saying that, but I was like just really surprised to see her treated that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember she was on State of Mind with Maurice Bernard, and people were like, "Oh yeah, she seemed high," and like really kind of slandered her. And in the comments, they were like, "Thank you for knowing how to deal with her being like talking to Mo, like basically like thanking him for dealing with her." And so
What?
I spoke about it, and I was like, "This is really fucked up," and he shouldn't be like, because he was like, "You're like, thank you for saying that," or whatever. Like it just was kind of like not standing up for her.
Oh.
And
Oh.
so I tweeted about it or whatever, and she quote tweeted me and was like, "Thank you for saying this." And I was like, "Damn!" Like, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, nobody has her back. Like, what's going on here?
Her
It
name. So the
was just really
actress's
sad to
name.
see.
Yeah, the actress's name is Diamond White. She's amazing. She's the lead on Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur, which is an
Okay.
amazing show. And y'all are tripping because she's beautiful and wonderful and so inspiring. And people,
It was just really sad for me that there wasn't a safe space for her.
yeah,
You
that
know?
she's a strong one for staying on the show. Um, given how they keep sidelighting her character. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, all the black actresses are strong ones for staying on the show.
Seriously.
Yes, and have to give it up to them.
I mean, one of the things, because I know I talked about this with Dylan actually about
Uh-huh.
what happened on Days. And so, like, sorry if you don't watch Days, we're going to talk about just like a little
Yeah.
bit, but for people who are listening. But like, so on Days, like Ilani, who I've talked about a bunch because I stand, are like they were the first black couple to ever get married on Days in like 2020.
Oh wow. Oh, in 2020.
Yeah, so it was like there had been a long time black couple in Lexi and Abe, but they didn't get married on screen. They came on married,
Okay.
and so I grew up with them. And so yeah, like so I just like always like loved them. Lamont Archie is like is like plays Eli.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know Lamont, he's fine, extra fine. Like he
Oh
was
wow.
also on All American. He
Uh-huh.
played a character that people hated at first and then loved.
Uh-huh.
Other thing about him, fun fact, he was in the Cater to You video. He was like the dude that was with Beyonce in the Cater to You video. So if you go back and watch that. Um,
Okay.
and
Oh.
then Lonnie is like a beautiful black woman.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, so like they're just like I love them as a couple. I really loved their chemistry, and they both were cops, which I hated, but they were both cops. And essentially like their story that they were written off for was that Lonnie's like biological father, who her mama had always hid from her.
Uh-huh.
Her mama Jack A is her mama. So
Oh,
Jack
okay.
A had pretended her whole life to be her auntie so that this abusive man, wouldn't find her.
Okay.
So he does, and then she walks in on this like after all this storyline, we find out that the abusive father had like tried to pretend like he wasn't, but he was still beating on women. Like it was wild. And they had like used like redemption language to try to like make it seem like he was better. Like it was just a very wild and disgusting story. And so anyway, she walks in and after she finds out he shot Eli,
Mm-hmm.
walks in and finds her like the man who she thought was her father on the ground, like hurt, and then this man about to slap her mama, and she shoots him. And essentially, like they have like a storyline with this, but they send her to jail. So the aftermath of kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement
Mhm.
was for them to send a black cop to jail for shooting an abuser.
Oh.
Like it was
They
just
did they
like
frame it that way?
it was. I don't think they framed it that way, but it was just like that's how I felt about it
Okay.
as a viewer. And so, but like the couple was leaving the show, so they wrote them off with like her going to like a minimum security prison, like near DC, and then Eli taking their kids to go live with their mama near DC, and that's how they exited the show. And it happened at the same time, essentially, that Sin, which is another like popular white couple,
Mhm.
exited the show like around the same time. And mind you, Days used to do promo with Ilani and Sin together because they were like both like, you know, popular couples. So Sin, which half of Sin was like a serial killer, like the man was a serial killer that got redeemed. You know, Days be doing some extra shit. But anyway, so like but point is, their like happily ever after was like they literally sailed away in the sunset on a boat with a baby. So you write the black people off as like one of them goes to jail,
Yeah.
and you write the white people off as like, here, look at us having this like beautiful happily ever after. What? It was wild. Like it was like wild to see. And I'm like looking around like, is anybody else here? Just me? Am I the only person mad about this? Okay, I guess we're not mad about it. So that's
Right.
why I'm not mad at like GH. Like, I mean, I don't, you know, I don't see everything because I'm not on it, but that's why I'm not mad at people at GH for like mobilizing around the things that they like care about, because I'm like, some of this is wild.
Oh, yeah.
Some of this stuff is really wild, and they've gotten away with it for decades.
Yeah. Oh, I remember just why I was upset about what's happening on YNR is they would have Devon and
Mhm.
the black guys kind of talk to their ex who they cheated on, white women, talk to their ex and be like, now's not the time, or calm down, or just like speaking to them in a condescending way to make themselves seem like a martyr when their girlfriends who they cheated on had every right to be upset.
Right, right.
You're like you're just taking this out of proportion, or this is the inappropriate time, and all this other stuff, or leave Victoria and leave you know, Abby alone like there's some innocent victim. You know how Curtis does with Nina. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, why do they do that? They protect the let me
Every
stop.
time.
We're gonna be okay, y'all gonna quit us, but why do they always protect the white women? Always.
Or it's like, yeah, it's interesting, but like for me also, I I mean, I am a person who believes that if you solve for like the most marginalized, if you like make stories better, and like that's the standard, then it solves for everybody. Right.
Right.
So like I've seen like, I mean, we'll talk more about it because Sasha's story, but there's no way you're
Yeah.
gonna get a better story for Trina and then have the same story happening for Sasha. Like you have to like misogyny war. Part of misogyny war is misogyny.
Right.
And so the misogyny that runs so deep in a soap like GH, and is it like the misogyny war almost like is like, oh yeah, of course here, of course there you are. You know what I mean? Because like it's so deep, and I won't give everything away from what we're going to talk about today, but like when I saw Jackson Montgomery, who still looks great, by the way, I said, okay, Walt, what?
Right.
But I remembered, and they did not do right by race on that show by any means, but I do feel like it was better for women because the stories were about women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things I was like talking about with someone was that All My Children was a show about couples.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like couples were doing things. So a lot of times when I think about All My Children, I don't really think about storylines. It's very, I mean, like there are things I think about, but I think about Haley and Mateo. I think about Zach and Kendall. I think about Greenlee and Leo and David and Anna, like
Yeah.
Maria and Edmund. Like I think about Dixie and Tad, like
Yeah.
these couples that came out of that show. And like, so I sometimes will forget the storylines that happened, but I remember what happened too. And it helped them have stories that were more grounded in it helped them have stories that were more grounded in character and not just stuff happening from time to time. And I would have to go back because I haven't seen it in a long time, but in my analysis was different. But I just remember Angie and Jesse. I loved them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a man who loved his wife. Listen, and that was a woman who was treated like she was loved by her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when people are looking at Trina, like that's what they want for that's what I want for Trina. I want her to feel loved by her partner. And so I think that when you have things, when you're just hopping from storyline to storyline to storyline, and you're not rooting in character and rooting in couples, it ends up like just creating some of the mess that we see on the show.
Yeah. I
So
agree. All My Children was amazing. They had some great, amazing, iconic couples. Um, and they also had some really great, iconic characters. Whenever I also think about all those couples, but I also think about David Canary and his role as Adam and Stuart Chandler. I mean, amazing, amazing actors on that show, and such a loss.
yeah, I mean it was, and GH was always
Yeah.
felt like a soap about like it. Even I think about like the women on GH who get screen time.
Yeah.
It was like Sam and Liz got screen time because of their like connection to Jason. And so once there was no Jason, we didn't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's anyway, it's just for me it's like really fascinating who we center, how we center them, and the stories that we tell for them. And I think when we don't have an eye towards making sure, because I would guarantee that like a lot of these executives will be like, I'm just telling a story and Trina's just a soap character and you have to let her be a soap character. And it's like that's true in some ways, but if you don't have an eye on making sure that you're not treating her with like care so that you're not falling into stereotypes, you're always going to fall into stereotypes. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not treating her with care to make sure she is treated with respect as a character, the default on that show is not to treat women with respect. You know what I mean? Like, so certainly Trina's not going to get it if that's not your default. And so I just think that like what I appreciated about Dylan's article, which I will put in our liner notes, what I appreciated was like it was really talking about the like roots of the problem, and we can even go deeper. I mean, we can't, she would have written like research report if she would have went any further, but we can even go deeper into how queer characters are treated, into how like it's just it goes deeper and deeper. So anyway, shout out to Dylan. Well, I'll post the article in our comments or in our liner notes, and please, if you have not read it, make sure you do that.
Ooh. So, what happened on GH this week?
You know what? It was a week. Um,
What's a
it
week?
was a week. Let's get into it. Okay. Curtis gets shot at the Metroport. Finn and Liz help stabilize him before he is taken to the hospital. That experience pushes them back together and pushes them to get back together. That happened. Anyway, Sunny and Anna both think that they could be the target. Anna talks with Dante and Sunny about offering herself up as bait for the shooter. Valentine's not gonna love that. Stella and Marshall are discussing Marshall's schizophrenia diagnosis, which was always wrong, apparently, when they get to the call from Portia about Curtis and they rush to the hospital. At the hospital, Curtis makes it through surgery, but we don't know the extent of the damage while his family waits. We see a glimpse of Esme trying to make Trina jealous over Spencer. You know, I had steam coming out of my ear. Molly overhears Christina telling Sam and Alexis that she should be Molly and TJ's surrogate. They tell her to hold off on talking to Molly, but the damage is done. Brooklyn admits to Chase that Tracy blackmailed her to go back to deception in exchange for helping him get his badge back. Chase kisses BLQ, lets her know she's forgiven, and she thinks she's in the clear until Tracy tells her, "Girl, don't forget, you've committed corporate espionage." Sasha is high on life and her new meds that she doesn't need to be on. Just to be clear, I want that doctor dead when this is all over. Sasha takes a blouse from the store for Willow, and Chase comes to arrest her for it at the Millow house. Maxie comes through and gets Sasha out of it with no charges. Gladys continues to spend Sasha's money, and after Cody threw some games that got him in trouble with Ms Wu, then I put period. That should say more. That's so funny. I was like, what am I saying here? Anyway, Cody threw some games, got him in trouble with Miss Wu, period. Gladys and Cody continue to beef about Sasha, and Nina shows up to check in. She tells Gladys that under no circumstances should she tell the court about Sasha's near shoplifting. Sam is back in PI mode, and she talks with Mac about Cody and Curtis. She's also in mom mode, and I love that we got so much Sam this week. Here's to more Sam, and here's to more Sam point of view. Finally, Lucy and Felicia are in Pine Valley trying to get info out of Jackson Montgomery. Lucy charms him, and they make plans for dinner. What did you think about the week?
It was weak. I think it was an interesting week. There's some interesting discussions that were intriguing. A lot of people felt like Curtis's heaven scenes were pretty compelling. I
I did
didn't.
not.
I mean, I think it could have been a lot more compelling than it was. I actually felt another person's performance was more compelling to me, and I'll talk about that when we talk about performances. There's some spots obviously that I did not like, and we'll talk about that as well. So it was just right.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I think that Donnell gave like a good performance. I just wasn't compelled by the scene because I was like taken out of it. I just didn't. It wasn't. First of all, I was like, why every time dead parents come back, they always trying to tell them to die? You know, like nobody's parents are like, come back and you know you have so much to live for. Go be with your family. They like, no, come on.
Yeah, she was just like, "Oh, you had a daughter? Oh, that's great. Well, anyway, you should come back with me."
Come get mama tater salad and we go. Like, what
Yeah.
is going on here?
Yeah, come hang out with your brother, and we can all be reunited. F that little girl you got down there. Just like, we'll meet her when she comes.
It was weird. Yeah. I overall was like okay with the week. I was sad that Tabiana like clearly was like losing her voice because it makes me wonder what the scenes that she was in would have been like had she fully had her voice. So like the scene that she had with Joss, I really enjoy. You know, I'm a Joss fan, so I really enjoyed those scenes. But it was so much Joss talking because like Trina couldn't talk. So I wonder like what the conversation would have been about Spencer and about Sprina if like they would have been going back, because I'm gonna just assume that like they probably rewrote some of that because Trina couldn't talk or because Sabian couldn't talk. um but it was nice to see. I think Josh, the best friend, has like voiced her concerns about Spencer, and I think that's fine, and now I'm glad and I want to see her as a best friend like support Trina in like her relationship. That's her man. She gonna stick beside him, just like you gonna stick beside your my boy. So let's just like move on and support each other. So I appreciated her giving that context. Um, Obviously, I mean, moment of the week. Maybe I don't know if I should wait for performance, but moment of the week, Selena Wu backhanding Cody. First of all, you know I'm a Lydia Look stan. Every time Lydia Look is on screen, it pops. Literally, she popped Cody, but like it pops. You know, like Lee is so good. Like she leaves you wanting more. She's intriguing. Um, like she's menacing. Like I am scared of her. I'm like, what is about to happen? And so that is a lot to be able to convey in like not a lot of time. And so I love her. And when I saw her take that hand and backhand Cody, it didn't look like a stage slap. It looked so good. I said, that's what I'm talking about. That's my mob boss right there. So that was my moment of the week.
Right? I think I agree. There's a couple of moments in there that I agree with. Enjoyed the scene with Joss and Trina, and I agree. I think it probably would have been different if Trina or if Tabiana's voice was together. But I really like the insight that Joss had on Spencer, and I appreciate that because of their history that she would have insight to it. So I like that. I also liked Marshall's and Stella talking about Epiphany and how that affected him. So I enjoyed that scene. I kind of felt like the scene should have been during a different time period, but I'll talk about that during my hot takes. Um, I loved Anna calling out Martin and Lucy and talking about Lucy. I love that. That was like one of my favorite scenes.
Mhm.
So yeah, I had 3 moments.
I mean, and when is Anna Devane not the moment? She
Right.
looks so good this week. Her dress, her shiny hair, she was doing it. I'm like, damn, Sunny is everywhere. But what I at least appreciate about a Sunny Anna scene, or like knowing that they're gonna be in story together, it means we're gonna be seeing some Anna. And I appreciate that. Um, I also like the Sunny and Alexa scene. I think that I think that Nancy and Finola get really, really good performances out of Mo. Um and it was like refreshing. Um I think that there's something with his scenes. I think obviously Laura Wright gets those scenes, really good scenes out of him too, which is why they were together for like 5 seconds and people were like, Carson Rising.
Right?
But I think what happens for me, whatever, I can't talk about other people, but what happens for me with Sunny and Nina scenes is that their energy doesn't match. So like Nina comes in on 10 and it almost looks like he's like dismissing her. And I don't like that. Um, and I don't know if it's like purposeful, like that they're just like, oh, we're a mismatch, or if it's because like famously Mo does not like rehearse. He just be showing up like I'm ready to go. Um, And so like maybe they just don't have a minute to like match their energy. I actually just don't know which one it is, but either way, for me as a viewer, it's very noticeable. I think for other people, they might actually find that to be endearing. Like she's this way, he's that, like, you know, like that's a very like sitcom vibe. But it's just like really difficult for me as a viewer to get into with them, especially when I think he has such good scenes and like good peer scenes with Anna, good like friend scenes with Alexis, and good like partner scenes with Carly.
Yeah.
Performer of the week.
So I selected Selena Wu as well, just for
Oh
the
yeah.
the you know the entertainment factor. Loved her, and you had said all these great things. Um, I also wanted to again give it up to Taj Bello. Here's the thing: there's some stuff that I didn't like that he was doing, but I loved how he portrayed it. Like he's been getting some really great scenes, just so he can react to the situation that's happening to him, and how he has to navigate that, and actually be in deference to Molly, but how he's still feeling some things, right, and him having to navigate that. I also appreciated his opportunity to convey his emotions and dealing with the fact that Curtis was on the hospital table. I mean, it was a very emotional, intense scene for him. And I loved how he played it, whereas he was trying to, manage being a professional, but also having his own emotions to endure. Again, and I'll explain this kind of more in my hot take. I did not like how they were treating Christina because they just didn't understand what her motivations were. And Molly just assuming that Christina is trying to hog the spotlight, even though at the same time, Christina has a certain energy where things just kind of navigates to her being the spotlight. But she's not, in this instance, she's not really necessarily being selfish, but Molly taking it as Christina just being selfish, I thought was a little harsh. Because I don't feel like there's historical context of where Christina is hogging the spotlight away from Molly. And so
Let's
to
put the
have
whole
her,
hot take up here. Just do it here because I
all
want.
right, I'm just gonna do it. I don't have that historical context where Molly is being shunned aside because Christina is taking all the shine. The other Molly didn't play that, and neither did the little girl Molly. So it's just like for her to be like, oh, so Christina's gonna have my baby because I can't, just can't. I, you know what? I don't know what it's like to. Well, I do know what it's like to not be a kid, but I mean, I don't know what it's like to be told after you really, really wanted a kid that you can't, and then. But I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but having a kid is not something that most people volunteer for. And it seemed like Christina was trying to come to a place where she's trying to help Molly. And so for Molly to be just so intensely mad and bitter towards her sister was just kind of weird to me. But maybe it makes sense for other women that have experienced the same situation. I don't know, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like how, because of that, TJ seemed to kind of come with that same energy against Christina when Christina was really just kind of, trying to be positive and upbeat. And he was just like, don't you understand? He almost died. And blah, but he checked himself. And before he went off on her, he kind of walked away. But then Molly kind of took it up. And I was just like, but anyway, maybe I just was feeling some kind of way because I like Kate Mansi, and and I was like, she's just trying to be nice. Why y'all going off on her? But yeah,
I thought so. Let me say this. I thought Christina was off the chain this week.
she
Like
was.
even the idea of her like asking Maxie, I'm like, this was famously a disaster. Okay, like
Yeah, that was crazy. But for the thing is she didn't bring the idea to Molly, right?
no,
And
I agree with you. I agree with you.
yeah.
So I also don't know if it's just like because I like I think that Kate Mancy's portrayal of Christina is actually like very spot on for who Christina's always been. Like that she's always been a little bit flighty. She's always been a little bit in her head and kind of centered on her. But in a way that like it wasn't that she didn't love the people around her. I think that like it also like follows this is a person who's susceptible to like a cold. And so it's like what I didn't like about what Molly said and what TJ was saying is like just to your point, the only historical context we have for that is her getting beat up or her being in a cult where she was almost abused. So are we now saying that that's like her trying to steal the spotlight from y'all? Because I don't like that. Um, I am also fully aware that I just can't get into this Molly. That is why I do think that Taj is doing a really good job as TJ, because this is clearly supposed to be a story he was playing with somebody he's been knowing for a long time and like opposite from a long time, and having it be this Molly who I just cannot get into. And Kate Mansi, who I like know and am very familiar with, it like I do feel myself just like naturally gravitating towards her. Um, Against Molly, but not necessarily against TJ. So I don't know. I mean, I'll take that as you will.
Right. No, I mean, for me, I felt like I can understand TJ's reaction in a sense, because I feel like he was in a really vulnerable place where, you know, emotions are heightened, and here Molly bringing her negative energy to Christina, it kind of almost like it was a transference. Like I almost feel like when TJ calms down that he might go back to Christina and be like, yeah, I shouldn't have, you know, yelled at you like this.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like I didn't like how they both were kind of just ganging up on her. But yeah, you know what I wrote in my hot take? I was like, Molly, like I didn't like how Molly was yelling at her, even though at the same time I do understand how Christina might just take up all the energy, because it was just like it was totally plausible that that could happen, but she's like totally misinterpreting Christina's motives. And like you said, those two incidences in Christina's life, yeah, they are all consuming. They probably did take some energy away from Molly, but that character never played it like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like there was never any scene or any thought that the Molly was just like jealous over all the attention that Christina was getting. Um
Mm-hmm.
and it's totally plausible that she could have been, but she never ever hinted at it. It was never played that way. So they should have, I guess, had a, or the actress should have put in a little bit more time in order to give us that historical context. Like she could have said, you know, all my life I kind of feel like I've had to compete for my family's attention because Christina and all of her issues. She didn't even do any of that. So, and like I've always felt like I had to be perfect or all this so I wouldn't have to be a burden because they had to deal with Christina. You know, the only little thing well, actually, TJ explained it, the whole middle child syndrome. She didn't. So, but it's weird. So, but yeah, hot
Yeah.
take. Shout out to Taj though. You are doing some great work this week, and you're doing a rock star job with the storyline, even with the complications of not working with the actress that you're used to. Loving that you're getting all these new screen time, and I hope that increases
I
because
know,
you.
I know. Because speaking of what's working for me, like what's always working for me is Black Hospital. I was so excited to see all these Black people this week. We had Curtis, even though I don't care about him. We had Portia. We had Zeke. I really wanted more Zeke. We had Jordan. I would have loved to see Jordan like step more into the vice mayor role, but I was happy to even see her. We had Trina. We had Stella. We had Marshall. Like we were just really in here being blackety black at the hospital. Um, and we were remembering Epiphany. So I appreciate you know, is even whether I have like critiques of the stories or if I don't like whatever, I appreciate like being able to turn on the TV and like see Black people in a front burner story. Um, I thought, like just like you said, I thought Taj was just so great when he was in the hospital room, like watching Curtis. Like it was just, I just really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. Now I did laugh when they had Nina come in there and kind of put on her like white woman black scent. It's just like, you know what I'm talking about, like the white woman who has that like little voice. This is not me dragging for real, but like that has like the little bit of voice where they put on the extra when they're around black people. Go back and watch what she was like, and Curtis said, and like it was just
You know
like,
what I thought about that scene though? I wasn't even, focusing on how she was saying it. I was focusing on what? When did he do all this?
thank
Like,
you.
I was like, he what? I was just
When
like,
was all this said?
you're right.
And he told me this about you, Trina. But it was fine. I mean, because the thing about Nina is let me just be shady at first and say the role of Carly Corinthos is played by Nina Reeves this week. But I will say that like she is way less insufferable when she is like not around Carly world.
Yes.
Like when she's not trying to step into that world. The
Mhm.
only time I was like super duper annoyed with her this week was when she was like when she was playing an awful mom mall, like telling the business at the Metro Court pool, like they finna try to shoot you again, Sonny.
They're
You
trying to
they trying
finish
to
the
shoot you
job.
before?
They're trying to-
Like, be cool.
right?
We'll talk about that in public. Um, but yeah, but that was like the only real time she was like really annoying me. Like it was like it made sense for her to be with Curtis's family. I
Mhm.
loved her checking Gladys. This is how awful they got Gladys being. Um, yeah, I loved that moment. So yeah, it's just like when she is not insufferable when they remove her from Carly's world and get her something to do.
Mhm. I agree. Like I even like her scenes when wherever Liesel is right now. I like her scenes with Liesel and Maxie and well, I guess the whatever girls that they have. Um but yeah, but when she's trying to navigate the whole Carly situation, she's horrific. So I agree.
Anyway,
What works for me,
tell me.
I love the pool. I love everything happening at the pool. Everything. Maybe it's the only set that they have this week. I don't know. But I like it. I love the drama. Also Selena kicking Cody's ass
Yes.
was amazing. I wish he got beat up more. Like I wish we got the satisfying smack. Wish he would have got a punch too. Maybe like more of a chokehold. I saw that there was like some little thing on his hand. I would have it would have been great if it was like a little knife. Okay, so right now I'm binge watching Mission Impossible. And the second one where dude had a cigar cutter and cut off dude's finger. I wanted that to happen. That would have been cool. You know, let me stop talking
I
about
have
all the
concerns.
violence I want to happen at Cody. But
I have concerns.
it's like, made for television daytime families. I guess we can't go that low. But I feel like poor Dex had worse happen to him.
He
Dex
was
was,
on a meat hook.
yeah, he was on a meat hook. He got punched. He's getting punched all the time, sucker punched by Spencer. Cody is getting off scot free. Y'all could give him a little bit more. He cheated Selena Wu out of her money.
Courtney Matthews' family always putting their hands on decks.
Right? I mean, Cody deserves a beat down. He's got a lot worse. Y'all could do more. I'm not a violent person, really. I just don't like him. Okay, what doesn't work? Cody doesn't work. Cody doesn't work. Doesn't ever, 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 ever work. And then Fizz.
Ooh, God.
How many people have been hurt in that hospital? How many people? A lot of people, and a lot of them are GH people because the show is about GH. Yet, this is what brought them back together. No, they don't need to be together.
When
Yep.
they went to go check on Curtis, like, not these two who can't find the polls. Not this couple.
I mean, it makes sense because they got together because they were dealing with another patient, horrible Peter, but still, Ugh. They don't belong. They're Fizz. Fizz. I bet you they have that on there, written on their notebooks. Fizz. Because they
Fizzle.
fizzle. They are horrible.
I don't like it. I think it's also because we've seen both of these actors have so much chemistry with other people. So putting them together is just like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's terrible. And it's like, this is like their redo. They're like, okay, we heard you. You didn't like it before. Let's like take it back, slow burn it, and then do it again. So like this is a couple that's gonna be together because they did all of this for them to reset them. Ugh, woof. Like woof.
I was just like, boo, with like 6 O's.
Woof.
And boo. Okay.
What does not work for me? This Sasha storyline.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Bring it. Tell us about it.
It is gross. How much does this woman have to go through? I like, is she just like a punching bag for the writers? Like, what is happening? I would have much preferred, like, part of what I don't like about a lot of what's been happening, especially to some of these women characters, is that it requires like a level of obliviousness. So, like, I mean, just to come back to something else, like the idea that Carly wouldn't know what insider trading was. What? The idea that BLQ wouldn't know what corporate espionage was. Like, these are not stupid women. And the idea that nobody would pay attention to the fact that Sasha is obviously manic. Obviously manic. Why do we have to bring her towards another breakdown? To essentially have Cody be the one who saves her. I would have preferred a story where Sasha would have been like, why the hell is this doctor prescribing me medication when I don't need no medication?
When I'm a known drug addict.
Okay, talk about it. So why is this happening? And I would have preferred for her to find out and look at, just because Gladys is her like executor doesn't mean that like she shouldn't also know what's going on with her money, that she never looks at her bank account. Girl, get an app on your phone. Like, this is just like unbelievable. And what would have been a better story is for Sasha to find this out and then save herself.
Like, there was a moment, I think, where Gladys was like, oh, yeah, I got some stuff. Like, why? Like, Sasha shouldn't have been like, what stuff? Why are you shopping? What are you shopping
What
for?
money?
With, and with what money? But she's too high, I guess, because to notice.
Right. And so, but like literally, like Chase come into like the house to like arrest her. You coming up in Willow's bubble to arrest somebody? You telling me
Right.
you
And
could
then
have
that
found
Will
her
is
for?
Chase's level.
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
But it's like you coming up in her house to arrest her as if this wasn't a shirt. You really ran up on her. She didn't. It wasn't jewelry. It wasn't anything like extreme. I mean, I guess like they tried to make it seem like the shirt or whatever was expensive because Maxie like named it as being expensive. But like for real, you couldn't have called her like, Sasha, what's going on? Like, it's just, I like I said, I would have preferred for her to be like, huh, doesn't make sense that this man is like trying to give me this medication. Huh, let me look at my bank account. Okay, Gladys is like cleaning me out. And then like her and Sam or something. Or even, to be quite honest, her and Nina like figuring out, that would be a great story. That would have been a great story for Nina.
Oh, yeah.
Like figuring out and taking Gladys down, and then Sasha just being like, because I know they're probably trying to figure out her maternity leave, to be like, and then like Deception sending her to Paris or something like that to go like work on the like whatever it is.
Right.
But this idea that she has to be like driven towards, like, it is so difficult to watch. It is so gross. and I want this doctor dead. And I didn't like Gladys at first. I mean, Gladys has been like a mess since she started, but it was very sweet, this kind of chosen family that Gladys and Sasha had been building. And then to like, I don't know, Gladys can't come back from this. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It really doesn't work for me, and it's gross.
Yeah,
When it could have been an empowering story for Sasha, it's a story that drives her crazy again.
it's bad on all levels.
Terrible,
Terrible.
terrible. Anything else not working for you?
No, those are the two things that weren't working. It's always gonna be Cody and Fizz. Oh yeah, and this storyline, I don't like it.
Mm,
Um, we're gonna do hot takes. Those are
sure,
all things I don't like. I
sure,
guess.
but I do want to do a quick speculation with you because I want to know your opinion on something.
Okay.
There's been all this speculation about who Marty's ex-wife could be. Who do you think it
Yeah,
is?
a lot of people were thinking like it might be Erica Kane, or which would be totally interesting. That would be interesting. But why would Jackson Montgomery be involved? Well, I don't know. Well, he would be involved because he was also always Erica's lawyer
Yeah,
too.
but he left Erica at the end of like All My Children. The other thing that people have been speculating that I like is because, I mean, not that they care about this, but no way that Lucy wouldn't have known that Martin was married to Erica Kane. I
Right.
would love a Erica Kane, like I would love that. But the thing that I found to be interesting, people thought it might be Kendall.
Wow.
That I think will be really interesting.
Was Kendall single at the end of All My Children?
I think so. Or single enough, because Zach was dead, right?
Oh yeah, okay. Hmm.
So
Interesting.
that I think will be really that I think will be really interesting. But
Yeah,
we'll
to
see.
have that. Well, have that actress come back. Can we talk about Jackson Montgomery being back? Yes, he was fine, but totally underutilized in this.
Well,
Like,
we'll have him 2 days next week.
okay, I hope so because yeah, they got that dinner date.
Mhm.
But I'm just like, they had him basically just being the doorman in his office. I'm
Yes.
like, this man, he needs more to
Did
do.
you read his interview in Soap Opera Digest?
No, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I should
Oh
watch.
my God, he's so cute. So first of all, he was like talking about how he stayed with Michael E. Knight or Martin.
Oh, yay.
Um, yeah, he was like talking about like how he was like so nice to him. He was such a good host and like made and like ran lines with him and answered all these questions. And he was talking about how like when he was like on set, they paged him overhead, and Cameron Matheson was like, "What?" Like didn't know he was gonna be there. It was just so precious. And then they were like asking him what he's been up to, and he was just like, "Yeah, I stayed in LA for a couple of years where I kind of have been typecast as like Jackson Montgomery." So he like went home to the Midwest, like to Illinois or something, and like revived the community theater in like his little local community. And was like
Right.
doing
Yeah.
stage shows in his local community and having like other All My Children alum like coming through and doing shows with him.
Oh, that's
Is
great.
that not the cutest thing?
He's awesome.
Yeah, and he still looks good. So I have to assume that he's unproblematic. I just can't imagine him aging so well and being a problem because he looks great.
Yeah.
I said, Jackson?
And I always love his voice. His voice is so
It just felt because like All My Children was like my first ABC soap, so it felt like home. I was like, "Mm, Jackson Montgomery."
he could talk to me all night. Just talk. That's all.
There was like I think a little controversy. I couldn't dive into it enough. But I do know there was like somebody who was saying something about wanting more people from like All My Children and One Life to Live to come on the show. Um, I think that there are a lot of GH characters who have been neglected, who need to be like put on the front. But um I don't mind cameos, especially when the cameo is like unexpected. I think it's a big difference between saying we're gonna have like a short arc with like Alicia Minshew as Kendall Hart and not be explaining who she is. Like she's just Kendall Hart. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
Versus like we're gonna bring Josh Kelly from One Life to Live over to be Cody. Like I just feel like those are two different things.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that like if they own all of those soaps, like there's nothing wrong with like trying to get people. I would love for Angie and Jesse to come on the show and no Portia or no Jordan. Like that
Yeah.
would be so cute. Um, I would love to see just like, you know, uh Nora come and like talk to Alexis about getting her law license back. Like things like that, I think are fine. I don't have a problem with that. Again, I think especially as a Sam fan and who she hasn't really had a whole lot, I would prefer them to like build out Sante and build out like a story for Sam. But if that story for Sam like included somebody who's like an old favorite from one of these other shows, I wouldn't be mad about it. That's how I feel about it. What about you?
I agree. And there's only been a couple of really successful recast of other actors. Like I guess Rebecca Budding coming in as Hayden is pretty successful. You know, Tad,
Was
Michael E. Knight.
it? I mean, sure, it was successful. I'm sure. You're right.
She was on for a long time. You know, um, Tad Martin coming as Martin Gray, that was successful. But yeah, Cody, no, and no.
Everyone knows how you feel about Cody.
On site. I'm sorry for you, actor. If I see you on the street, you will not be getting me screaming for an autograph.
No. All right, let's get into some hot takes. Let's do it.
I thought this line from Joss to Trina in the picnic, we haven't done this since high school. I'm like, that was like only like last year. I love how when like young people find significant moments in their life and it's only a couple of years, but and then I'm as old as hell and I'm like, that wasn't that long ago for you to be like, oh my God, we haven't done this since.
See, and I had a different hot take about that moment. I said, Josh and Trina talking about simpler times in high school. Like, y'all friend died of cancer. Your other friend died in a mob pit. Your daddy faked like he was dead. Cam was a little delinquent. Like, y'all didn't have an easy high school. Like, that shit was traumatizing as hell. What you mean
Right.
simpler?
Yeah, they all need yeah, they needed to have picnics every once in a while.
Right? Like, what you mean simpler? Like, y'all lives was wild.
It was like a while.
Your parents getting deported, John. Like it was just like these are not simpler times just because your boyfriends didn't like each other. That made me laugh. I laughed at that.
Like this is very mild, and what they're dealing with now is mild compared to what they had to deal with in the
No,
past.
that made me laugh a lot. You got anything else?
For Monday, I think that was I already talked about Molly and Christina. Um,
Oh, I said Sonny had his Jennifer Love Hewitt moment where he was like hopped up behind. What do you want from me? Like, dude, sit down.
oh yeah, I thought it was like a hot mess. I mean, I understand. Like he explained it, I guess, okay, to kind of help them make sure that the paramedics can get in and get help to Curtis. But still, it was like, sir, sit down.
Please, please.
What did I read about Tuesday? Oh, let's see. Esme was being hella obvious. Cause I was like, why does Spencer need to give a message to Ace? Ace ain't gonna understand the message. Ace ain't gonna be like, where is Spencer? Why ain't he here, mama? You better give me an explanation. Ace ain't gonna do all that. She went all the way down there to mess with Trina. And so that's why that's really given, the what Joss is feeling is exactly something that Esme, the real Esme, would do. And she's being a busybody and trying to get on folks' nerves. And even Spencer himself was just like, just tell him I'll be home, whatever. So she was being hella obvious.
I was like, girl, fuck you. I screamed that at the TV. Yeah, I'll say a couple things about that. One, obviously hated it. Hated it. I know that there was like talk and like there's been, like if there was going to be like some sort of like triangle between Sprina and I don't, that is not the vibe I'm getting. The vibe I'm getting about even like him being, because I was mad at Spencer too for reminiscing with her, was like he's softening towards her for Ace so that she feels for him again. But I'm not seeing from him anything but annoyance. Like I personally see her trying to sabotage, but I don't see him getting feelings for her again. That's
Right.
just like not how it feels like. I mean, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna be mad as hell. But that's not how it feels like it's going. It feels like it's going like she gonna get these feelings. She's gonna try to sabotage. What I really hope, I think Trina has for a long time as a character not been given the chance to like snap off. So like when it was Sydney, I really loved kind of was one of her last scenes where she went off on Esme in the classroom. And I really hope that Tabiana gets a moment like that with Esme to take her down. Because I think that Trina deserves a moment like that. This girl has done too much to her and she is still doing it. You know what I mean? Like with Jocelyn, I understand why Jocelyn's mad. I understand why Jocelyn like wants to check her, but Esme is still actively trying to like mess around in Trina's life. And so for me, I think Trina just really deserves the moment to turn up on her. And I hope that they give it to her and give her that character moment to step outside of this like very nice, like adult, even kill shell to be like, bitch, what? You know what I mean? Like I really, really want her to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it will be epic, and it'll be must see TV, and hopefully she gets that opportunity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what did I have? I didn't have anything else for Tuesday, um, except for when did Curtis talk about loving his life? That was like behind the scene. Um, Wednesday, Wednesday, I felt like Felicia was being hella loud in that office.
I did too.
Jangling those cabinets. And I'm like, why isn't anyone not hearing her?
I did too. I was like, Felicia, you want to get caught, girl.
Right. I was like, it made no sense that no one heard her, but yeah. And
Girl,
it was unnecessary because people like if it would have shown that she was trying to be careful and closing the cabinet doors quietly, that would have been perfect. But she's like jamming the keys into the lock, slamming the I was just like, girl, stop.
they're like, she had been by herself.
Right.
So I had some stuff about. I had a couple of like hot takes around the mob. And we'll
From the
love
what?
what you have to say about the mob, and
Oh,
we'll
the
love
mom.
what you have to say about this. So first, they're like, "Who would shoot Curtis?" And it stuck with me that like, oh, nobody really knows about Curtis and Selena Wu. That this is like something that he has been doing behind everyone's back. Hmm, interesting.
Yeah, but you know what? See, that's what I always keep saying. I'm like, heck, I'm mad that he's lying to everyone, acting like he's like this good person, And he's doing some under the table stuff with Selena Wu.
Mm-hmm.
And what also is annoying me is that the police, like Mac and Sam, seem so focused on Cody that they're ignoring the fact that those underground, pool games are happening in the Savoy. And they're just like okay with it. I guess maybe because they're used to it because of what Luke and his shenanigans were back in the day. But still, it doesn't make it right. And they're still treating Curtis like he's some sort of hero. Maybe it's because of Luke. I don't know. It just doesn't seem, it seems weird.
Well, I will put that more on the police because what I said was Michael had to be the one to catch Sonny, like shipping weapons of war through town, while Mac is like looking at Selena Wu and not even like gonna fully pull her down because he doesn't want to put down Cody and he thinks that Curtis is some kind of innocent. Curtis is not innocent. Curtis went and got himself involved with Selena Wu because he wanted a file on his daddy. Okay, that is what Curtis did. He was not ignorant, he was not coerced. He approached her with that. So this idea that like I just hate when they retcon people and retcon things, it's like people being innocent or not knowing. Curtis is not innocent in this situation at all. And like this, like I said, why are you looking at Selena Wu? There was a shooting at the docks with Sonny. Ain't nobody looking at him. P.S. The same kind of rifle that was used to shoot at Sonny was used in this second shooting. Same kind of ghost rifle. And so for me, it's just like, I feel like they do a bad job of really conveying how dangerous the mob is. I feel like back in the day, there was like an overlying tension of like the mob being dangerous. Like if it whether it was guards, whether it was because of Jason always running in and out of places with a gun, like it was like very clear that like this was like dangerous. And I feel like for the last year or so, they've really dialed that down where it's like, okay, this thing happened at like the dock where that Sonny got the pier where Sonny got shot at by a sniper. We haven't caught anyone, but it's cool for him to still be in public. Sonny, if somebody with a sniper tried to come after you and y'all ain't caught nobody and you don't know what happened, then maybe you shouldn't be in public places. Anyway, that's just my anti-Sonny rant.
Very well earned anti-Sunny rant this week. Um, anything else? Oh, well, I made the comment. How come folks don't know that Sasha is high and ain't saying nothing about it? They're just looking at her weirdly. And none of them are being like, you okay? Like right now? Like, yeah, I mean, Maxie did that all throughout the shopping scene, just looking at her hecka funny, but not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. None of them are. She don't have really good friends.
It's so weird. It's so
Right.
weird. I said only the Metro Court will have a shooting in a crime scene while still being open. And then the next day, everybody came in like there wasn't just a shooting there.
Or yeah, and then allowing Anna to just break the police tape.
Breaking down police, Sonny and Anna still on the scene. Nobody's telling the crime boss to leave.
Oh, I had another one. The police were all up in that room just to make sure it was secure, and not one of them found the gun, except until Dante came into the room. I mean,
Failure.
any cursory search, Dante found it, but the other underling police did not find the gun.
Failures.
It was total fail.
I was like struck. So, like I think that I'm the kind of person, and I think a lot of like soap audiences, we give like the benefit of the doubt because like we know what people are trying to do. So like I know that the reason that like they had Trina like be without Spencer that one day was like so she could be with Stella and like the family. But it was striking that the day before he was like, you don't have to worry about me going anywhere. And then he was just like gone the next day with no like explanation. And I think that just happens all the time on GH, where they just don't feel like they need to explain stuff to us. You could say something very easily, and you don't. You just say nothing. And so, like I said, like, it's clear to me, like, why you would want that. You could have even said that Spencer was in the cafeteria getting food for people, or made a food run at Kelly's or something. But like, say something so it's not just like this awkward like space of him not being there. And that happens not just with this, but all the time they do this stuff. Anything else from you?
No, stuff that I had already talked about.
I said I really loved the Anna and Martin scenes. I mean, you brought it up a little bit earlier, but I just really loved it. Their rapport, like her, like kind of teasing him, was really funny. Him like like getting beat up by her on the ground, like it was just all really good. And I'm the kind of person who, when I know people have like good relationships or like long-standing relationships, and I see them be able to like play together on screen, I really enjoy that. It's like, I know that Michael Unite and Finola have like a long-standing relationship from All My Children and all that. So I really just like loved their scenes and how funny they are together. I also know that they both, like, Finola talks about this, they're both like um people who rehearse a lot. So I always think about like, what was the scene before they got it, what was it on the page, like, but I just really enjoyed their scenes. I enjoyed them together. And I enjoyed seeing so much Anna last week, and I hope that we continue to see her.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious, especially she revealed, she's like, I know you got a sugar mama. Didn't say that, but I loved it. I loved it. It was such a surprise that she actually knew about it. Because I was wondering, yeah, who was the lady just giving him 50,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't want to get married either. I was like, if I was Lucy, I'd be like, okay, well, as long as we keep getting our money.
$50,000 a month?
Right?
Never getting married. I'm definitely keeping up
Never.
with these.
Right. And I would tell Lucy and she would be fine with it. Hopefully.
Well, who knows? Lucy's Lucy.
Yeah.
Uh, this is so funny. The last thing I have is Liz and Finn, so forced.
You're like,
My
so
God.
unnecessary. Boo.
Terrible.
Boo.
Terrible.
He's like, can I take you out tomorrow? And she's like, we can stay in. Cause I ain't trying to be seen in public with you. Because this relationship is horrible. But I can
I'm
make
forward to
lasagna.
the I'm not looking forward to the fizzle love scene.
Oh, over some lasagna.
Gross. All right. So next week, we know that there's more Jackson Montgomery. Lucy and Felicia are gonna get caught up because Jackson knows something's up. So that is exciting. We also saw Anna talking to Dante and Sunny, talking about offering herself up. And so we'll hear more about that. Y'all know I love Dante disappointed dad. Dante be so tired. He's just like, I'm just trying to go home to my kids. I'm trying to go home to Sam. Y'all out here wilding. And I feel like that's how he gonna be talking to Anna next week. And I love it because I also know how much Dante loves him some Anna. So as we all do. So anyway, next week, Monday, Ava makes a confession. Leo acts out. Lucy turns on the charm. Austin relays a message. Chase tracks down Ned. Tuesday, Brooklyn is relieved. Alexis runs interference. Gregory surprises Tracy. Mac offers assistance. Sam comes clean. Wednesday. Sasha does damage control. Taggart checks on Trina. Good, I've been wondering where Taggart was. Portia questions Spencer. Christina works through her feelings. Molly opens up to Sam. Thursday, Sam plays mediator. Austin is overly confident. Gladys is alarmed. Maxie defends a friend. Esme seeks answers. Friday, Dex,
I was like, what does she need answers for?
you know, who even knows? Friday, Dex gets a new assignment. Jocelyn gets shocking news. Drew is suspicious. Oh, so we're going to be in Pentonville. Okay. Hopefully we see Cyrus. Nina rushes to the hospital. Ava reassures Austin. Also loved, there was a soap operas in depth story that I saw. And it was talking to Lisa, who plays Olivia. And they asked her, like, what did she think was going to happen when Nina was found out? And she said she doesn't know, but she hopes it's big. She hopes that that her character Olivia gets to blow up on Nina. So we shall see, but that seems to be far in the future.
Damn.
I mean, people are suspecting it's going to happen at the Sona wedding.
Yeah, but still, the wedding needs to happen today so we can move on from Sona.
I mean, I think they're also trying to like establish, you know, like her like baseline of support, like Nina's baseline of support, that like the people who are going to still be there for her. So,
I guess.
well, what an evening, what a night, what a Sunday, what a shift. I'm getting loopy because I'm I'm tired and hungry. Somebody put out fireworks in front of our house last night at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
And I've been up since then because I could not go back to sleep.
Oh, I had up early because of other things, but 4 a.m. Why are you awake at 4 a.m.?
It is after club hours. After club hours, why are you putting out fireworks? What are you celebrating?
Right?
I mean,
Did I tell you know what happened last week? I was walking home from a dinner and somebody had Christmas lights up. And it wasn't like I forgot the ones on my roof. No, they had the lights lining up the porch and they had the squirrely lines on the poles that are holding up the porch.
July.
I don't care. It's past it's July 16th.
Christmas in July, though. Maybe they had a Christmas in July celebration.
No, they need to take that down.
Well, on that note, Tanya hates Christmas. No, I'm kidding.
I love Christmas appropriately. It's July.
Oh god. All right. Well, thanks for listening to us, and we will see you next week. Bye.